All right, this is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Wanted to come on a few minutes and talk about the Little Johnny effect on sports. If you don't know who Little Johnny is, that is like the metaphor for the athletes of today. Somewhere down the line, it became popular to have all the kids who compete be winners. You know, life is not possible for everybody to win, but some mom or think tank or somebody along the way thought it was okay that every kid should win. And those of us that came up the hard way, either you won or you didn't. If you win, you get a trophy. If you don't win, you get nothing. That kind of thing. That's just the way it should be. And the Little Johnny effect has infused itself into modern sports, especially the high school level, and it has complicated things for a lot of people. It changes the way that people have done things over a period of time. Take, for instance, the high school track season. Last night, the school I'm affiliated with competed in the regions. And like I said the other day, they don't just do one region now, they do a double region meet. So you got a whole lot of activity going on at one time. When they first came up with this concept, I thought it was great the way it worked out, because you got your field events, which is a whole bunch of them, taking place while you're doing your prelims. And by the time all the prelims and things were over, you had a very short time to wait before the finals began at 7. Under the old format, you did all the prelims, and because it was only a single region, you had about a 2.5 hour wait before the final starts. So you just got a bunch of people sitting around waiting for something to happen. But under the double region, it made a big difference. But I have come to discover that they come to change that now. Just to recap on how it works, or used to work, Florida generally has 16 districts over 4 regions. If you finish in the top 4 in your district, then you go to the region. If you finish in the top 4 at region, you generally go to state. Well, that has changed. Let me back up a little bit, give you a little backstory. I started the year with the track team, but they didn't have a baseball coach, so they came to me and asked me to coach baseball. Before that, I had told an athlete that I was working closely with that I'm going to send you to state. Then they pulled me aside, and I had to go to baseball, and it looked like I abandoned the athlete. So that didn't play very well. That didn't sit well with me or the athlete. So when I would see this person in the hallway to get dirty looks from him, and I didn't like that. But once baseball season was over, the track coaches came to me and said, can you go back and work with this athlete? I said, sure, I have no problem with that. Found out what the issue was, why the times weren't as great as I thought they should be, fixed that. Now that person is in prime position to get to state. Well, last night, that person got 4th in the event, which historically would send that person to state. But I found out that they're not doing it that way now. They're taking the top 2 winners out of the region, and they automatically qualify for state. Then they're taking the next 10 times across all 4 regions and let them go to state. Why, you may ask? Because they have a 9-lane track, kind of like what they have in the Olympics. So instead of having 1 lane blank, which is what it was when they first started using 9-lane tracks, they want to fill up all the lanes. Makes sense from a visual standpoint, but if you're an athlete who's been trying to get to state, you want to know right then whether or not you're going. As it stands now, you have to sit and wait for results of the other 3 meets to see if you make the state track meet. And I think that's where the problem is. Not that the top 18 times shouldn't go, but if you're in a region and you're running head up with a guy and you see exactly where you stand, what happens at another meet should have no bearing on you. And that's what I mean by the little Johnny effect. Everybody wants to be a winner. You're trying to make everything, it's AI of sorts. You're not there, but my time is better. Like, I understand if you have a region where you have a mass photo finish and the top 4 or 5 times there are the top 4 or 5 times in the state, then you can make a case why some of these people should go to state. But if you win the top 4 spots in your region, I don't see why there was a reason to change the fact that you should go to state automatically. Again, they got the 9-lane tracks in state now. And what they were doing before this rule change a few years back was you still take the 16, but the finals, then you will have 9 instead of 8. And you put 9 on the podium. So I guess somebody looked at it and said, that looks kind of dumb. So why don't we just change the format? And something that was working for 30, 40 years, they just decided to change overnight. I can't do anything about it, but like the athlete that should be going to state, we got to sit around and wait. But no matter what happens, I'm ecstatic for the progress of this athlete because I showed this person how to jump the hurdles, and this is the first time this person has jumped the hurdles and slowly getting better every single time. And if we don't get the state championship this year, barring some kind of major catastrophe, we're going to be in the top 2 or 3, if not win the whole thing next year. So I'm looking forward to that. The other thing, you got the NBA playoffs going on. Last night, the Pacers and the Knicks got into another wild one, but if you notice the trend here, the Knicks seem to pull away from the Pacers in the end. No controversial calls last night. It's just out hustling the Pacers, kind of like what you're seeing in Denver and Minnesota. Young legs, big heart, wins out every time. And I think the Pacers, they're not going to get past 5 games. But it doesn't matter because it looks to me that Boston is clearly the best team in the East. So it's just a matter of who gets to be slaughtered by the Celtics. But the good thing about the NBA playoffs, even though you get 1,000 lives to die, you know what the format is. And it's a whole lot better than that track format I just described. Because like I said, you go in knowing what you got right in front of you, you win or not. And that's just the way it is. But in track now, you got to sit and wait if you don't get those top 2 spots. And I don't think that is the way that things should be. All right, somebody is, good morning, sir. How are you? SJB. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm just coming in, chiming in, talking about a few things. I got a label for this. I'm going to start coming on every morning, especially in the fall. Maybe not as much over the summertime, but once the school comes back into season next year, and then I'm going to come on at a designated time. I got the name, I got the artwork, I got everything all lined up, and we'll have some segments taking place when I do so. But right now, I'm just coming in, chiming in a little bit about what I see going on at the present moment in sports surrounding me. Did a lot with high school athletics, so that's what I talk about a lot. But like I say, I got an athlete that has a great chance to go to state in hurdles, and because the times keep coming down every time that person hits the track, we got a chance to possibly be in the top 3 this year. Every time this person runs, they shave a little time off, and I think he's doing great. I appreciate it, Mr. SJB. I don't know if male, female, whatever, but I appreciate it. But like I say, I got to go to work. But wherever you are in the world, you guys all have a great day. This has been Sports for Real, and I'll be back at you when the time is right. Have a great day. Sports for Real.